So I was thinking about my English rant of the other day and how it opened up a can of worms, but not for the reason you might suspect. Last night I thought more about this as I was reading my comments from people, and the thing that I came upon was this realization as I was reading comments and also reading research. Because the First Amendment exists, and that guarantees that the government cannot abridge your freedom of speech, right? First, let's understand what that means. That means that the government cannot force you to speak any language. In other words, a cop can't say to you, speak English or you go to jail. So that would be a clear violation of your freedom of speech. And I know that's not what the governor of Alabama was talking about, but there are people in this country who think that you should be required to speak English everywhere. And this is evidenced by a conversation I was in once with a person who spoke French, and I was speaking French with him on a subway train in Boston, and this Bostonian guy says, he yells at the two of us, and he says, "You're in America, talk American." So I turned to the guy and I said, "Well, hey, asshole, why don't you learn how to speak English yourself?" And that shut him up. So anyway, the idea there is people actually would like to require you to speak English to other people who don't speak, let's say if you're an immigrant from Mexico or an immigrant from Japan and you're with another Mexican or you're with another Japanese person, there are people in this country who would like to require you to speak English with people of your own language, which is obviously indicative of someone who has never learned a foreign language, who's never lived in a foreign country and had to speak with a native speaker of their own language. But anyway, the interesting part, the can of worms part, is this. There was a case where a person sued the government because the government did not print some kind of a license exam in that person's language. So let's say a Vietnamese guy. He sues the government, says, "Look, I want the license exam to be in my language," and the government only has English or maybe English and Spanish. Well, the Supreme Court ruled that the government could not be forced to produce that person's language because that would infringe upon the freedom of speech rights of the people in the government. So you hear that? The freedom of speech thing goes both ways. You cannot require me to speak English, and I cannot require you to speak Swahili. And that goes between the government and the citizens. Citizens cannot require government officials to speak or provide a language that is not their own. And then the government cannot require that these people speak a language that's not their own. You see the huge conundrum that brings up? Now, the way the Supreme Court said it was the person who produced the test, the government agency and the officials, they were just speaking their language. That's just the language that they spoke. And you cannot require them to speak something that they don't speak. So it creates an impasse. I can't require you, you can't require me. I speak one thing, you speak another thing. So what do you do? This is the huge conundrum. Of course, common sense tells you you're in America, speak English. And that's all well and good, but I think this is why this conundrum, this problem, this can of worms, is probably why the federal government has never declared English as the official language of the United States. Because it opens it up. It opens the United States up to all these lawsuits. It's just a huge, huge problem. But I thought that was interesting. Okay, so enough on that topic. Now, another topic. And first, a shout-out. I'd like to do a Shaka shout-out. Here you go, my buddy. This is to Hawaii Sidecar, my fellow Bostonian. A fellow masshole, Bostonian abroad, living in Hawaii like I used to. Okay, so there was a topic brought up by Billmaa, And shout out to Billy too. He used to live in Hawaii. And the topic was, are you a closet moto vlogger or a closet vlogger? And I never really thought about it, but no, I'm not a closet vlogger. Anytime I happen to meet somebody who maybe talks about motorcycles with me, or sees my bike and says that's a nice bike, if we have any conversation longer than a couple of minutes, I always bring it up. Oh yeah, not only do I ride, but I also videotape while I ride, and I put it on YouTube, and my name is Mike Daly 7, and you can look me up. Ooh, we're seeing a historic moment. They're towing the Edsel. This Edsel has been sitting in that yard for years. Look at that. There's the Edsel. Wow. Towing the Edsel. Woo! I hope somebody bought that car. It's such a shame to see that thing sitting out there like that for all those years. I even told somebody at a classic car show recently that they ought to go pick that car up. So maybe they did. Maybe they said, hey, I'll pay you for it. Anyway, I'm not a closet moto vlogger, because I am very open about the fact that I moto vlog. And I don't care if anybody thinks I'm a geek, somebody without a life. I really don't care. I enjoy riding, and I enjoy videotaping while I ride, and so there you go. Yeah. The only thing I am kind of closety about is, as I'm moto vlogging, I don't like people to see the camera in my face, especially because it's pink, and it just gets weird stares. And so the closetal, is that a word, closetal? The closetty aspect of my motovlogging is actually, as I'm motovlogging, I have this visor that you can't see, but it's a reflecto visor, so nobody can see my face. And that's just because people would stare and point, and nobody likes to have people stare and point at them. At least I don't. Look at that guy. He's got a camera in his face. What's he doing with a camera in his face? Isn't that dangerous? So, that's 2 things down. Can I think of a third? There was a third thing I wanted to do, but I can't remember what it was now. I'm almost home anyway, so I'll just have to do another vlog later. So, for now, I bid you all adieu, and I will see you all later. Yay.